Modern motorcycles are great, but there is something about riding a nice old school motorcycle.
Except the Continental GT650 isn't old school at all. In fact, it's one of the most modern looking and high-tech Royal Enfields you can buy on the market today. You can consider this bike as one of those bikes which have a very admirable old school cafe racer look, but underneath it's got a tech fest in this category.
The Continental shares its chassis with the Interceptor, and both bikes have a state-of-the-art dual cradle frame developed by Harris Performance to support that big 650cc parallel twin engine. The transmission is a 6-speed unit with a slip and assist clutch. You get dual-channel ABS out of the box and an awesome Biber 4-piston brakes.
The braking department of this magnificent Continental is handled by a single 320mm disc up front, and at the rear you got 240mm disc. The suspension of the motorcycle is handled by a 41mm telescopic fork, as you can see here, and at the rear you've got a twin gas charge shock with preload adjustments. But in order to keep the raw feel of the bike, Royal Enfield has kept some retro touches behind.
The speedometer and the tachometer are analog dials. The wheels are black spoke rims. You get the classic round headlight up front, and since this is the Continental, you get clip-on handlebars. You can also change this dual seat configuration for a single seat and a cowl.
Since we are on the topic of retro and analog, let's just look at the bike. I haven't seen a motorcycle this pretty in the longest time, and I don't think that there's any other motorcycle in this price range itself that looks as good as this. Even if you think of spending another 4 lakhs into your initial budget, you still won't find a motorcycle that looks as pretty as this. Every detail about this bike oozes retro, and in my opinion, if you ride this bike without aviators and a leather jacket, you're committing a crime. But as good as the Conti looks, will it spark that same fire, that same flame when you're riding it?
The 650cc parallel twin is by far the best engine Royal Enfield has ever produced. It feels old school and raw because it is air-cooled and oil-cooled, just like the Porsche 911s of the old times. The sound is natural and sentimental rather than fake and artificially produced. The grunt is there all the time, and in any gear at any RPM, 47.6 PS of power and 52 Nm of torque is ready to hurtle towards the horizon. Only this bike isn't meant to be grabbed by its neck and go all out. Instead, you need to chill out, pop the bike in 6th gear and let the engine rumble away as you stare at the changing landscape.
I have fallen in love with the Continental. It is my favorite bike. I love it from the bottom of my heart, but it has a few drawbacks. For starters, the clip-on handlebars tend to get a tad bit uncomfortable, and that results in pain in your palms, your wrists and your shoulders. Also, the engine gets very hot, and when you do stop at a signal, there's a huge possibility that you might burn your leg. But there's one huge upside of buying this motorcycle. All these uber cool looks, the mechanical feel, the riding experience starts at just 2.8 lakh rupees. Its direct competitor, the Harley-Davidson Street 750, doesn't even come close to it, and I'll tell you why. For starters, the Street 750 costs a whopping 2.5 lakh rupees more than this beautiful Conti. And on the other hand, the riding experience just cannot match up to what the GT has to offer. The closest thing that comes to this motorcycle is the Thruxton from Triumph, but that starts from 12.2 lakh rupees ex showroom. So take all of that into consideration and you've got yourself the steal of the century.
With that being said, I hope you liked the video. Please like the video, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. This is Tanay signing off. I'll see you in the next one.